Are y'all really surprised? Are y'all really surprised at the news? Really? Seriously? Are y'all? What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic. And today we're going to talk some football. Houston Texans football. The Houston Texans relieved Coach David Culley of his head coaching duties after 1 year. After 1 year, the Houston Texans let go of their head coach. Are we surprised? Are we really shocked? Me personally, not really. But before we get in there, like I've been telling you in the last couple of videos, the goal is to reach 5K, 5,000 subscribers. Trust me, you want to be a part of this. I'm doing a special giveaway. Once we get to 5K, we get to 5K, you're getting a giveaway. So I'm doing a special giveaway with a couple of my subscribers, but we got to get to 5K. Trust me, you want to be a part of this. You don't want to miss it. But the only way to be a part of it is to get the channel up to 5K. 5,000 subscribers. Trust me, you want to be a part of this. Also, follow me on all social media platforms. The links in the description below on all my social media platforms, IG, Twitter. Also, hit some of them links in there. We're giving away 30 days free of Amazon Prime if you hit them links in the description. So go ahead, hit them links in the description. Also, share this video so we can get to 5K so I can do something very special for a couple of my subscribers. But anyway, now let's talk about it. The Houston Texans relieved David Culley of the head coaching duties after 1 year, and they also let go and fire Tim Kelly. I give him an A for effort on that one. This is the thing. Are we really surprised? No. I've been telling y'all this for the longest, that I was never really mad at David Culley. I really was. I was never really mad, even though his coaching tenure his coaching critiques was straight trash, hot butter garbage, to use a certain word. Definitely was. Like it was definitely was. But he was never really a head coach. He was a figurehead. I mean, the dude didn't know when to call timeouts. I mean, you got Nick Caserio calling timeouts for him. You got Nick Caserio telling him what plays to run. Dude don't even know if a player hurt or not. It was a game against David. I forgot what game it was. I think it might have been the Colts game when David Johnson played in the first half or played in the first quarter and didn't play no more in the rest of the game. After the game, what did he say? He said that I think it was the flow of the game, and basically that's the reason why David Johnson got taken out the game. But then on Monday, when they did their Monday press conference, he talking about David Johnson got an injury. Then with Tyrod Taylor, when Tyrod Taylor got hurt the second time, it said something about, first he said something about his thumb, or then said something about his wrist and set the wrong hand. Like, he didn't know what was going on. It was one time he was talking about them throwing an incomplete pass to stop the clock when they didn't, and when that didn't happen, that play never happened. And then he had to backtrack on Monday and say that he was wrong after the game. Like, dude wasn't even aware of what was going on during the game. I don't fault him for that. The reason why, because he never should have been put in that position. The reason why he would never should have been put in that position, because he wasn't qualified to be a head coach. He was a figurehead. He was somebody, because the whole Deshaun Watson situation, somebody basically to take them hits. Because remember, after his introductory press conference, like 2 weeks later, they threw him in the press conference by himself to answer what questions? Deshaun Watson questions. And remember, all the talking media heads was getting at the Texans because Nick Caserio, Jack Easterby, Cal Manell was nowhere to be found, and David Culley, who's only been on the job for 2 weeks, a week and a half, was put in front of everybody in front of a camera to talk. Really? That's the only reason why he was hired. He was basically hired to take the blame, to point the fingers, so everybody be out there with their pitchforks to holler and fuss about David Culley. David Culley was never here to succeed. That was never his job. David Culley actually did what his job was. It was to lose games. To take the hit from the media, to answer the Deshaun Watson questions, take the hit from the fans, and to lose games and tank. I've been saying, the 9-9, embrace the tank. I've been saying that all year long. That's why David Culley was brought here. He was never brought here to coach, because if you look at his coaching credentials, dude never been the coordinator, and then the position coach he was with receivers. In Kansas City in 2000, I forgot what year it was, 2013, 2012, 2013, the only receiving corps in the NFL that didn't score a touchdown. Last year, with the Ravens, had the worst receiving corps in the NFL. He was the receiver coach. This guy's worthy of getting a head coaching job? Absolutely not. But that's what they put him in this position, like I said, to take the Deshaun Watson questions, to get the blowback from the media, to get the blowback from the fans, and also, most importantly, to guide the ship into a tanking situation. Now, I said this 2 months ago. I was asked if David Culley was going to be brought back here, and I said that depends. I'm like 50-50. It wouldn't matter to me. I'm like 50-50. Not wouldn't matter to me, but 50-50 that they could bring him back or they might not. It all depends on if the real coaching candidate who they want is available and is willing to take the job. They will get rid of David Culley. But if that person is not available and not willing to take this Houston Texans job, they'll roll with David Culley for another year, maybe another year and a half. Something to that effect. But I wasn't going to be surprised they got rid of David Culley. Then this whole evaluating the situation, they've been evaluating all week, and I use this like evaluating. You had 17 games. That should have been your evaluation process right then and there. What you need to evaluate for? They need to test the waters to make sure that one of their coaching candidates is going to be available. And this is how I think of it. I could be completely wrong, but this is me. I think that it's Gerard Mayo and Josh McDaniels. I think those are the top candidates. Brian Flores kind of throws a monkey wrench and everything, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But going into this process, I think that Nick Caserio would want either Gerard Mayo, number 1, and Josh McDaniels, number 2. And I think Jack Easterby prefer Josh McDaniels, but he's okay with Gerard Mayo, the linebacker coach for the New England Patriots. Used to be a linebacker, not a linebacker coach. I think that Nick Caserio would prefer Gerard Mayo, but he's okay with Josh McDaniels, and I think vice versa when it comes to Jack Easterby. But now I think Brian Flores, being a former Patriot guy, also being the former coach of the Miami Dolphins, just getting fired, that throws a whole monkey wrench in because I can see both of them going under with Brian Flores. Now, this kind of raises a huge question because the Dolphins have officially come out there and said that they have no plans and they do not want Deshaun Watson. They're not going. They said this on multiple times that they're not going to take Deshaun Watson since firing Brian Flores. I think the owners talked about it twice, if I'm not mistaken. Brian Flores was pounding on the table, reportedly pounding on the table to bring in Deshaun Watson. Could this be a last-ditch effort to bring Deshaun Watson back? I know a lot of you are like, Deshaun is gone, man. Leave Deshaun. Deshaun is gone, man. We got Money City Mills, man. Deshaun is gone. I understand all that. But I'm just saying the Texans have yet to trade him. I believe, this is me personally, I believe that Cal, and especially Jack Easterby, they want nothing to do with Deshaun Watson. They want to get rid of Deshaun Watson just as much as Deshaun Watson wants to leave the Houston Texans. I definitely believe that. The reason why I believe this is because not only did he not play, he was never active in the game. I think that was under the team's doing. The team allowed him to do things like any other player who's not active bees at the game. Any player that's not active is doing the stuff. Deshaun Watson did his little workout just enough so he wouldn't get fined. And then they let him go on the merry way. They let him go and do other things. They didn't go out. They didn't try to do any other team things or try to force him that, hey, you can't go out and do this. It's not about you can't go out with your girlfriend here. You can't do it. It's cold, especially the COVID situation. The Texans never did any pushback. They never did any blowback. They never tried to put, because go ahead, do what you want to do, because we don't want you no way. We don't want you no way. We act like you really not fit. We just have to keep you on the roster. We have to keep you on the roster because we don't want to cut you, because we don't want to lose, because you have the potential to bring in the most assets for a trade. So we don't want to just cut you. But we don't really want you here. I feel like the Texans don't want him here. So that's the reason why Deshaun was able to be free and do whatever he wanted to do throughout the whole season. People want to sit there and blame Deshaun. I think it's a little bit of both. It's not a little bit. It's a lot of bit of both. Of both Deshaun and the McNairs. Not the Texans not wanting them. But I do think one thing. I think that Nick Caserio, out of all the guys, potentially Nick Caserio could be the one to be like, I really want Deshaun to stay. The reason why is Nick Caserio spent 20 years in New England seeing Tom Brady. He knows how good and valuable a quarterback is to any type of situation. I can see him being the same way. Like, the dude is just too good to just give away just because of this. Maybe because reportedly Deshaun Watson wanted to play under Brian Flores. Brian Flores was one of the main factors why he wanted to play in Miami. And then Brian Flores was one of the main people who was pounding on the table to get Deshaun Watson to Miami. If he brought back Pep Hamilton. And then I was reported that possibly bring back Brian Flores, and now talking about since they fired Tim Kelly, there's a possibility that Pep Hamilton could be elevated to offensive coordinator. You telling me you having a black offensive coach, a black head coach, Do you still have Lovey as the DC? And there's even talks that the Texans could potentially even bring in Gerard Mayo into the fold, even with Brian Flores under his staff, because Gerard Mayo is actually still just a linebackers coach. So making him DC actually does elevate him, and it would be an upgrade. And the Patriots can't block. They can't block an upgrade. Like, they can't block a promotion. Now they can block a lateral move. But if we offer him, okay, we're gonna offer him to be the DC. He's a linebacker coach right now. We can plug him from that Patriot tree. Having that type of, because remember, Deshaun's issues stated time was race related, right? He said it was that the Texans were insensitive to racial issues. If they have a black head coach and a black offensive coordinator and a black defensive coordinator, I know that Tim Kelly was black. I mean, David Culley was black. Yes, we know David Culley, but he was an older black guy. And this guy is the guy Deshaun did want to play for. Would this be one of the things? Would this be the stretch, the potentially, possibly, maybe bring Deshaun Watson back in to be like, okay, bygones can be bygones. We can reconcile. We can do this. We can maybe fix this or fix the situation. I said some things. You said some things. We get together, sing Kumbaya, and kiss and make up. And let's maybe we could potentially, we got the third pick in the draft. We may be able to move some things around. We could potentially build this the right way, a better way for Deshaun, unlike how Bill O'Brien did things. And maybe possibly we could go and win going forward. Who knows? I'm not saying that is the case. I'm saying, I'm just throwing it out that could potentially be the case. I don't know. Me being a Texas fan, I want it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I think Deshaun Watson was the best quarterback this franchise ever had. Y'all can sit up and say Money Mills all your damn well y'all want to. Deshaun Watson's better than Davis Mills. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn what nobody say. Deshaun Watson is 30 times better than Davis Mills is. And I mean, come on, like, cases aside, I know that the cases, that's a whole nother issue. I'm talking strictly football in the numbers. What Deshaun Watson did the first 4 years, come on, man. Y'all can't even talk about that, man. Like, let's quit that, whatever. Again, I know people like, stop missing Deshaun. Deshaun is gone, bro. I understand that. I'm just throwing it out there just in case this is a possibility. Now, but back to the coaching things at hand. I do believe, like I said, I think it's Gerard Mayo and Josh McDaniels. I think those are three. But it's this Houston Texans keep operating, like I said, in this whole ecosystem of Patriot only, like this pool of only Patriot coaches. It's basically the coaches that they really want. Like I said, I think they check the temperature on the Josh McDaniels. I think they check the temperature on the Gerard Mayo. And they potentially possibly check the temperature on Brian Flores and see if these guys want the job. And that's the reason why they went ahead and made the move on David Culley. I think they already know who they hiring. I think they already gonna hire who they're gonna hire. They gotta go through the whole Rooney Rule, which means they have to interview 2 minority candidates. Now, because both Gerard Mayo and Brian Flores are both black, they can interview those 3 guys and don't have to do any more interviews. They can interview Brian Flores. They can interview Brian Flores. They can interview Gerard Mayo. They can interview Josh McDaniels. And don't have to interview anybody else, because they comply with the Rooney Rules. They interview 2 minorities, and then they interview another guy in Josh McDaniels. And more likely, that's probably the 3 people they want. They could potentially be a dark horse out there somewhere. I mean, you got Eberflus from the Colts. You got D'Amico Ryans from the 49ers. Used to be Houston Texans. Who else? I was a big advocate of bringing in Byron Leftwich, but I'm only that if Deshaun Watson's here, and I don't think that Byron Leftwich would make Deshaun Watson stay. Even though I think that Byron Leftwich would do wonders for Deshaun, and I think Deshaun could do wonders for Byron Leftwich as well. I don't think that would make Deshaun Watson stay in this situation. A year ago, before you hired Nick Caserio, before you let Jack Easterby continue to run amok, I definitely was pointing in that direction. But things have changed. I don't think any situation, I don't think Airbnb, one, I don't think Airbnb will come here. 2, Airbnb, I don't think would change the process with Deshaun Watson. I think the only person who probably would be Brian Flores, because of Deshaun Watson really wanted to go to Miami to play with Brian Flores, and then Brian Flores was pounding the table in Miami about trading for Deshaun. That potentially is the only scenario I think that would be able to keep Deshaun Watson as a Houston Texan. Other than that, I don't think he's staying. obviously. But I'm just saying that to say that it could be another dark horse. It could be another fourth option. But I think it's between those three. And I think it's Gerard Mayo. I really think it's Gerard Mayo and Brian Flores at the top. I really think Nick Caserio really likes Gerard Mayo, but like I say, Brian Flores does throw a monkey wrench in it. Brian Flores had he's coached 3 seasons in Miami and had last year, and then this past year they won. Even though they started off 1-7, they won 7 straight, then won the last game of the season against the Patriots. He has. The rumors are that he's basically a black version of Bill O'Brien. He doesn't work well with others. Doesn't have good people skills. Things like that. Like that's pretty much the rumors that's coming out of Miami. Basically, he's just a black Bill O'Brien. But and then basically he lost the power struggle with their general manager. If he comes to New England, comes to Houston, being with Nick Caserio and Jack Easterby, who he actually knows, would he temper down some? Josh McDaniels the same thing, because that's the thing that that's the blowback that about. Do people Nick Caserio was on the calls with David Culley and calling timeouts and picking plays and things like that. And one of the things I thought about, maybe he was doing that out of necessity, because like I said, we seen what type of person David Culley is. David Culley be in press conference and Jack Easterby would be sitting in the back row, or in the front row, mouthing what David Culley needs to say, and then when David Culley gets up and leave, so does Jack Easterby. Like he was just a puppet. He was a complete puppet. So maybe Nick Caserio had to do these things out of necessity. Now I know some people might say that he possibly did some of these things in New England. Maybe, I think to a certain extent, not to the thing that people were saying, because Bill Belichick's over there. You really think that he was telling Bill Belichick when to call timeout? You think he was telling Bill Belichick when to challenge a play? You can't even sit up here and say that with a straight face. I really think that Nick Caserio was up there telling Bill Belichick when to call timeouts and when to challenge plays. He might have suggested something, but I don't really think that's possibly a general manager or a personnel guy suggesting the play. That is out of the ordinary. But I'm just saying he might have suggested something here and there through passing and talking. But everybody kind of interjects and introduce something, or probably mentions something to a coworker or a boss. That doesn't mean you up here with power. So you just notice something like, hey, maybe you should do it like this. This might be an easier way to do it. But yeah, a general manager or a personnel guy telling a coach when to call a play or how to call a play, that is far fetched. That is out of the stretch. That is far fetched, and it's a stretch. I don't think that's obviously not normal. And if he was doing that, then it is a power situation when it comes to Nick Caserio and these coaches. But then does Brian Flores or Gerard Mayo or Josh McDaniels strike you in that sense to do any of those things? I don't think so. But I do think it's going to be one of those 3 guys, especially now since they fired Tim Kelly and potentially could be moving Pep Hamilton. But why would Pep say it? Does Pep know something to something could be in the work. I know Pep was supposed to be getting an interview for Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, for the Carolina OC job. So if the Texans basically making the move like, hey, we want to keep Pep Hamilton, we like what you did with Davis Mills, we know exactly what you did last year with Justin Herbert, what you did in your tender with Andrew Luck in Indianapolis and things like that. So who knows? I also think he also coached Andrew Luck at Stanford as well. Pep Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken, I think he has ties to Andrew Luck at Stanford as well. So he does have a good track record of coaching. Like I said, towards the end, down the stretch, he did coach Mills up somewhat. Mills still has a lot of mechanics to work on. Like I said, that last touchdown through the Damian Dolan was a nice pass, but once again, his mechanics were kind of poor on that play because he threw all arm, nobody. Didn't use none of his legs, didn't use his hips, just straight arm strength, and that kind of clunky to me, but hey, he's a rookie. I think he will improve on that as the offseason goes along. But now, what do the Texans do as their head coach? Do they go after Brian Flores? Do they go after Gerard Mayo? Do they go after Josh McDaniels? Or is there a dark horse? Is there somebody else out there that we're not talking about that could potentially take this job? Like I said, me personally, I think it's Gerard Mayo 1, Brian Flores, that's a strong 2, basically a 1. And I think that Josh McDaniels is coming in 3rd. And I think it's really just going to be those 3 guys. They may interview somebody else, but those are the 3 names to watch. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Comment below if you haven't. Click that bell, get more videos. I holla.